Most people who find themselves watching something like this aren't lacking insight. They've reflected, they've connected the dots, they understand where certain reactions come from. And yet, when certain moments happen, their body reacts the same way it always has. They might know they're safe, but their chest tightens anyway. They might understand the pattern, but their mind goes blank before they can respond. And that creates a frustrating question. If I already understand this, why doesn't it help when it actually matters? To answer that, we have to look at what happens before insight ever shows up. Because the nervous system doesn't begin with thought, it begins with prediction. Long before you consciously register what's happening, your brain is scanning the environment and asking one simple question: am I safe right now? That question is not asked by the thinking brain. It's asked by older, faster systems, especially the amygdala. The amygdala doesn't reason. It doesn't analyze facts. It matches patterns. And when something in the present resembles a past threat, emotionally or relationally, it reacts immediately, before logic, before insight, before you have a chance to think. This is why phrases like, we need to talk, can have such a powerful effect. Those words don't automatically mean something bad. They're used for planning, clarification, problem solving, even positive change at work, in families, in relationships. But for many people, that phrase has been paired in the past with moments that didn't end well: a breakup, a divorce, a confrontation, bad news. So the nervous system doesn't hear the words, it hears the association. And association is enough to trigger a survival response, even when the current situation does not call for one. When those words land, ambiguity takes over. And ambiguity is stressful for the nervous system. The brain fills in the missing information, not with logic, but with threat prediction. What did I do wrong? Am I in trouble? This is probably bad. That's not negativity, that's biology. And once the amygdala flags threat, the nervous system shifts state. Heart rate changes, breathing tightens, muscles brace. At the same time, the brain makes a trade-off. Resources are pulled away from the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning, perspective, learning, and communication, and redirected towards survival. This is why, in that moment, you can't work through it. Not because you lack insight, but because the system that uses insight has been turned down. This is the first anchor, the explanatory anchor, and it matters because it tells you what's actually happening. This is my nervous system predicting danger, not proof that something bad is happening. That sentence isn't meant to calm you down. It's meant to orient you. And once that idea lands, it can be translated into something you can actually use in the moment. My nervous system is reacting to the past, not the present. Same meaning: lower cognitive load, easier to recall under stress. From here, the nervous system usually goes one of two ways. Some people go into fight. They become defensive, reactive, sharp. This is the system saying, protect yourself now. Others go into freeze. And freeze is the one many people don't understand, especially if they haven't experienced it themselves. In freeze, the body doesn't prepare to fight or flee. It shuts down. The mind goes blank. Words disappear. You know you're expected to respond, but nothing comes. This isn't avoidance. It isn't passivity. It isn't weakness. Freeze is a survival response where the nervous system decides, if I don't move, think, or react, maybe I won't make this worse. And when you're in freeze, insight isn't just unavailable, it's inaccessible. There is nothing there to pull from. This is where people often make things worse without realizing it. They notice the activation or the blankness, and then try to force insight. They tell themselves, I shouldn't be reacting. I know this is from my past. I need to say something. But now the nervous system is activated and being pressured. From the body's perspective, that confirms danger. So the shutdown deepens, the blankness increases, the moment becomes even harder to navigate. Insight, used this way, doesn't help. It intensifies the survival response. This is where the second explanatory anchor matters, especially for freeze. I'm not broken. My system is paused for protection. That statement explains what's happening, but when you're actually in freeze, explanation can still be too much, so it needs to be translated into a true in-state anchor, something that works when the mind is blank. This is freeze. It will pass. No reasoning, no fixing, no demand to respond, just orientation and time. Now imagine the same moment again. Someone says, "We need to talk." You feel the drop in your stomach. This time, instead of spiraling or forcing words, you orient. This is my nervous system predicting danger. My nervous system is reacting to the past, not the present. If freeze starts to set in, you add the second anchor. This is freeze. It will pass. You breathe. You allow a pause. And here's something important that many people don't realize. You are allowed to reduce ambiguity. You can say, "What is this about?" Or, "Is this about work, logistics, or something else?" That's not avoidance. That's regulation. Reducing uncertainty lowers threat detection. Now the conversation happens. Whether the topic is heavy or not, you are more present. You can listen, you can think, you can respond, even if slowly. And this is where healing actually happens. Your nervous system experienced activation, presence, and survival without harm. That experience teaches the body something new, not intellectually, physiologically. Over time, the association changes. The phrase loses its power, not because you told yourself a better story, but because your nervous system learned a new one. This signal doesn't always mean danger. I can stay present here. I don't have to shut down to survive. That's healing. This also explains why behavior can improve without real change underneath. Outside the trigger, the thinking brain is available. So you manage yourself, you suppress, you perform. But under enough stress, the old response returns. Because the nervous system never learned safety in the moment that mattered. That's not failure. That's biology. The most important reframe in all of this is simple, but it changes everything. Insight does not create safety. Safety allows insight to integrate. You don't heal by thinking harder. You heal by teaching the nervous system, through lived experience, that it no longer has to protect you in the same way. That's why healing feels embodied, why it shows up as reactions softening, not stories changing, why it feels like relief, not explanation. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Is there a phrase, a tone, or a situation that immediately puts your body on edge or makes your mind go blank before you can think? And do you tend to go freeze or defensive or both? If you're comfortable, leave a comment and name it, not to fix it, just to recognize it. Because recognition is how the nervous system starts to learn something new.